So if everybody is here, this morning I will talk about data management tools for crosses, pedigree, seedlots, and also we talk about progeny and cross search tools. So Breedbase can be used to store and manage crossing related data, including parent info, cross type information in the field such as pollination date, number of flowers, number of seeds produced. Cross can be linked to seed lots and progenies derived from the crosses. Basically, Breedbase can be used to manage crossing data starting from making crosses until obtaining the progenies. So there are 3 levels of data organization: crossing experiment, cross unique ID, and family name. So crossing experiment groups several crosses together. How you want to group crosses together is all up to you. For example, you may want to group crosses based on the breeding objective, or grouping different crosses done in the same year or from the same crossing block. So it's all up to the breeder or data manager how they want to organize the crossing data. Cross unique ID is used to capture details of each cross, and family name can be used to group several cross unique IDs having the same cross combination for downstream progeny analysis. So you can find the link for cross data management tools in the Manage section. Just like field trial, crossing data are organized based on the breeding program. Crossing experiment detail page has a summary info of all of the crosses that you included in that crossing experiment. Before you can add crosses into Breedbase, you need to create a crossing experiment first. So there is a link for creating new crossing experiment on the Manage Crosses page. So each dialog will guide you through the process step by step. Simply follow the instruction on the dialog. Here you will see the description of the crossing experiment, and if you go to the next step, you will see the fields that you need to provide in order to create crossing experiment. So here you need to specify crossing experiment name, which needs to be the globally unique in the database. Select breeding program, location, year, and description of the crossing experiment. So once you have the crossing experiment, you can start adding crosses into that crossing experiment. So cross unique ID is used to capture details of each cross, including cross type, female and male parents, information in the field, seed lots, and progeny info. So cross unique ID has to be globally unique in the database. Some breeding programs use the combination of breeding program, year, location, and cross combination as cross unique IDs. Because plant breeders like to name a cross by using the combination of female and male parents. However, those names are too generic for storing and tracking data in the database. So in addition to the cross unique ID, I added another field called cross combination. User can use this field for their conventional naming method. It's a free text field. Oops, sorry. So it's a free text field. User can use any format. So this field is optional. So if user wants to generate barcode for cross unique ID in addition to the cross unique ID, this cross combination info can be included on the barcode as well. So in order to set up a new cross unique ID in the database, user need to specify cross type and female parents. The requirement for the male parents, depending on the cross type. For example, both female and male parents are required for the biparental cross type. However, male parent is not required for the open pollinated cross type. So those exceptions have to be in the database. So in addition to the female and male accessions, if user has the field layout of the crossing block stored in the database and would like to include specific plot or plant of each parent, plot names or plant name can be included in the crossing data, but these data are optional. Okay, information about the specific plots or plants used in the cross is very useful for tracking seed contaminations or incorrect planting materials, which are common problems in the field. So you have two options for adding new cross unique ID. You can use cross dialog or uploading several crosses at the same time by using spreadsheet. The other day, Siva asked about historical data. All of our data management tool usually have both options. You can upload large sheet of data into the database or adding information one at a time. So let's try adding by using add cross dialog. Just like dialog for adding new crossing experiment, we have description and general info about cross. So we want to make sure that you already have crossing experiment that you want to add this new cross. So if you already have it, just go to the next step. Here you need to select crossing experiment, then provide cross unique ID. Cross combination field is optional, and then select cross type. So we have several types of cross type that you can select. If you select the biparental as your cross type, the next dialog will ask you to provide both female and male accession. And if you would like to store information about specific plots that you use for crossing, and if you have field layout of your crossing block, you can just enter your crossing block name here and then search for the plots for each accession parent. And will give you a drop-down list for all the plots in that crossing block. Then you can select the specific plot that you want to use. Okay. And then you can submit your new cross unique ID. So most users add crosses to our database by uploading spreadsheet. The link for the uploading cross is also on the Manage Crosses page. So first, again, after selecting crossing experiment, you need to select your file format. You can choose if you want to have only accession name for parents, or accession name and plot name, or accession name and plant name as your parents. So each selection will give you a specific instruction about a spreadsheet format that you need to follow. For example, if you have only female and male accession name as your parents, here is the spreadsheet format that you need to follow. So in each option, you will see different file format. So after you store cross unique ID for each cross in the database, you can start linking other cross information by linking those data to each cross unique ID. So each cross unique ID also has its own detail page, which shows information of that cross in more details. You can also generate barcodes for cross unique ID, female parents, for tracking your crossing process in the field. In the label designer tool, you can also select crossing experiment as your data source for generating barcodes. Okay, cross unique ID can be used to capture information about crossing process in the field, such as number of flowers, pollination day, number of seeds. So we customize this cross info table for each crop because different crops tends to have different practice.
Titima, just a quick question here.
Yep.
In order to generate barcode ID, like, for each unique cross,
Yep.
it has to be done individually, or it can be done
No,
from the
no.
entire experiment?
Actually, you have two options. You have two options. Let me go back. Here in this section, it will retrieve. It will in this section. It will generate barcodes for the whole set of cross unique ID in that particular crossing experiment, right? However, in the label designer tools, you have two options. You can either select every element in a particular crossing experiment, or you can have list option. How to generate list option? Because, let me see. So in each section of the crossing experiment detail page, here you have a table of all of the cross unique ID, right? Mm-hmm. And actually you have an option to add cross to a list. And once you retrieve all of these cross unique ID into a list, you can select a subset of crosses, in the list, because you can manage your list, right? You can add more items, you can remove items in the list. So you can filtering only the cross unique ID that you want in that list, and use the list in the label designer tool to generate the barcode.
Okay, so basically create a list and then use that list to generate the barcode.
Yeah.
Okay.
If you want to generate only specific cross unique ID, you can use list option.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have two options. Okay?
Yep, thank you.
Yep. Here, let's see. Now you can choose, normally, as I said, in each section, you have to always have two options. You can add your data by using your spreadsheet format. This is also the same case here. If you want to add cross info of the several crosses at the same time, you can upload the cross info from your spreadsheet, or you can add cross information of each cross directly in the cross detail page by clicking on the edit link. Here, the pop-up dialog will allow you to choose cross property that you would like to edit or add new information. Okay. So after the seeds are collected, cross unique ID also can be linked to the seed lot name as the source of those seeds. Okay. And I will talk about seed lot a little bit later. Also, once you get the progenies from a particular cross, so there are several options to add or upload those progenies to the database. For example, if you want to upload progenies as new accessions, so in the spreadsheet, you just need to provide cross unique ID and progeny name. So when you add progeny to a cross unique ID, Breedbase will store those new accession names in the database and will link those accession names to cross unique ID, and at the same time will generate pedigrees for those progenies, because each cross unique ID already capture information about female and male parents. You don't need to provide information about parents in this spreadsheet, because database can retrieve those information for you. You just need to provide the cross unique ID. Okay, so for downstream analysis, user usually combine all of the progenies derived from the same cross combination. So user can use family name as another level of organization for crossing data. user can use family name to group several cross unique ID with the same female and male combination, just like creating a population for a specific set of cross unique ID. So the work for family name is in progress. So in the near future, family name detail page will have all of the cross unique IDs with the same cross combination and all of the progeny derived from those crosses. So yesterday, Lucas already mentioned about pedigree upload features, and I emphasized that this feature should be used only with historical data that don't have information about crossing data. The main reason is that if you have only pedigree information, it means you have only information of parents without any other details. For example, if you have a set of progenies from the same cross combination, however, these progenies may derive from different crosses. This group of progenies may come from a cross done last year. Another group of progenies may come from another cross done this year, and with different set of plants. If later on you find out that some of these progenies are not the right genotype, it might be caused by might be a contaminants either caused by seed contamination or incorrect parent genotype. If you don't have any other detail, it's very difficult to screen through the whole set of the progenies. However, if you have other details, you may be able to get rid just one group of the progeny and still have another group of progenies to work with. And actually more and more users now prefer to upload progenies by linking to cross unique ID. And actually one breeding program right now, even though they already have information about pedigrees of like many thousands progeny, right now they would like to re-upload and link all of those progeny to the crossing data that we have. Even though those are historical data, actually most breeding program, they have information about the crossing data, but they thought, well, they just need the pedigree information. But later on, they found out that actually crossing data is very useful and it's very easy to store those information in Breedbase. So any question about this first section? So once you have all of the crossing data stored in Breedbase, to look up information about pedigree and cross information, we have progeny and cross search tool. So on this page, there are two sections, progeny search and cross search. If you would like to, for example, if you would like to retrieve progenies derived from a female parent, you can enter the female parent's name here, and you have options to retrieve all of the progenies regardless of the male parents. For these female parents, here we get 155 progenies. Or if you would like to retrieve progenies from a specific cross combination, you can search for the male parents that were crossed with this specific female accession. And then here it will give you a list of the male parents that were crossed to this female. And then you can select male parent that you want and search for the progenies derived from this pair of parents. Like in this pair, cross between 001 and 02, you get 55 progenies. So we use the same approach for searching cross information. You can retrieve all crosses derived from these female parents, or you can choose specific cross combination. Okay? So next, SEEDLOT. So I'll move on to the SEEDLOT tools. Any question about the crossing part?
I have a kind of extraneous question about it, but it relates also to pedigree. So
Yeah.
I didn't see exactly a polycross list underneath your crosses, but I did see, I think it was multi-cross, which is probably the same thing. So in that case, the female would be known, and the male would be unknown, but limited to known accessions. So in sweet potato, you're not going to have, you might have maybe 20 possible male parents. If you don't know the male parent, but then later genotype it, the progeny, and you can determine the male parent, can you put that back into the crossing? Can you change something from a polycross to what is essentially a biparental now that you know the male?
If user requests that, yes, we can add. For the coding side, definitely you can add other options. It is possible, but not right now.
Okay.
That would be like a special request. Usually like crossing tool is evolving. So it's based on how user would like, which feature would user would like to have. For example, right now, when you want to specify female plot or male plot, right, you need to enter the data indicating the plot name at the very beginning. Mm-hmm. And now one user just requests that, well, how about at first when they set up the cross-unique ID, they have information only the accession name, but now they want to enter information about the female plot and male plot. So I'm going to implement that feature for them. So it's pretty much the same case like what you just said. Users should be able to enter the male parent later.
Right. Okay. Because I mean, in reality, all crosses are biparental. You just don't always know ahead of time who the male is. So being able to go in and with new data or additional data, go back and correct it so that your pedigree is now more solid.
Yes.
So it would affect both the crossing experiment as well as the pedigree.
Like the cross type term, it's pretty much depend on the breeding program. For example, sweet potato. For them, polycross is pretty much similar to open pollinate, but with specified population name, something like that. So you can use the population name as the male parent. Mm-hmm. So I didn't go through the detail, but actually for male parent, you can use either accession name or population name. Like polycross, you need to specify population name. Yeah, I think it should be feasible. Yeah.
Okay.
But not right now. Yeah, crossing tool like keep changing, like over time based on the feedback and interaction with users. But it means once you provide the male parents, later on, Breedbase needs to regenerate the pedigree for you at that point, right? Which I think it should be easy, feasible to do that. Anyway, yeah, if user would like that, I think it's feasible. Okay, if there's no more question, let's move on to the SEEDLOT tools. How about the timing? Oh, my timing is still okay. So SEEDLOT tools is very useful for tracking seed inventory and tracking the source of the planting materials. So SEEDLOTs can be linked to different types of content, cross and accessions. Again, normally all the seed needs to come from cross, right? Either, like by parent or selfing is also one type of cross. However, sometimes user doesn't have that information at all. So they need to specify only like accessions as the source of that particular seed lot. So we try to compromise the data that user has in hand. So, before user can create seed lot, accessions or cross-unique ID, which is the source of the seed lot, has to be in the database. So each seed lot will have information about the breeding program, content of the seed lot, location that store seed lot, amount which can be number of seeds or can be weight, and who upload the seed lot, organization, box name. So to create seed lot in the database, you can either add one seed lot at a time by using add new seed lot dialog. So seed lot name has to be unique in the database. You have to provide breeding program, location, and box name, so you can locate the seed lot easily. So the amount, and then you have to choose either you want to enter accession name or cross name as the source of that seed lot. You need to either add number of seeds or weight, okay, and add a description. Or you can upload seed lots. You can upload many seed lots at a time using your spreadsheet. So I will not go into the detail because each section will have its own spreadsheet format that you need to follow.
A quick question here, Titima.
Yeah.
So when we upload accessions, do we need to assign a seed lot to the accession, each accession?
No. Either you want to link those accession to seed lot is all optional. It's optional.
Okay. So
when you add accession, you don't need to add seed lot.
Okay. So, but whatever new seed is generated from that accession, a seed lot will be generated to it. A seed lot gets generated automatically, or do we need to assign a seed lot?
No, currently it's you have to manually create a seed lot. Right now, it's not gonna generate automatically. The main reason is that because you need to specify the amount, you know.
Yeah, so that's fine. So in certain cases, seed lots are generated. In certain cases, seed lots are not generated. So how do you track the material, like for traceability?
For the accessions across which have seed lot, right? I don't think that we can force user that to enter the information about the seed lots. I mean, if they enter accession or cross, because these are optional. So I think the best way that we can do is try to convince them that seed lot tools is very, very useful. You know, just like when they see the benefits of linking progeny to cross, so they start using it. So I think that's the best way or best approach. Try to encourage people to use it. If they see that, oh, it's very useful, so they start using it. Otherwise, they just don't want to spend time with it. So currently, it's optional field and you have to manually create it. But hopefully in the future, if everything goes smoothly, so it can be streamlined. Especially I try to connect cross information from cross, for example, number of seeds by linking to the number of seeds in seed lot. So that's in my plan. But for accessions, you know, it's right now it's separated.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the ideal situation, right? When you add, it created the seed lot for you.
Yeah, that's ideal situation. So
that's the ideal situation on paper, but sometimes it's not that simple.
I agree.
Completely different. You know, when you have some very nice diagram on your computer, and when you go to the field and talk to a user, it's a completely different story. So.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, here, if you would like to choose the upload feature, you can just follow the instruction on the dialog. Now, Once you have seed lot stored in the database, you can keep track of your seed lot transaction. So on the seed lot detail page, you will see current count of the seeds in that seed lot. For example, this seed lot from year 2018, from this 005 accessions. So because you just created that new seed lot, there's only one transaction indicating that you added seed from this accession to this particular seed lot in an amount of 200 seeds. So this is a seeds from year 2018. And if you happen to have seed lots, all seed lots from the year 2017 with the same content, it means with the same accession in that seed lot, but the amount of the seed is getting low, and if you would like to transfer seeds from the year 2018 to this seed lot, you can create a new transactions. Here there are two transaction types, added to this seed lot or taken from this seed lot. So for example, in here, and you can choose another seed lot have the same content in order to transfer seeds between different seed lots, okay? So if you choose to add to this seed lot, you can choose the seed lot from year 2018, which has the accession 005. So and then enter the number of the seeds that you want to transfer. And put, you should have, always should have description why you would like to transfer the seed, and then click OK. Remember that previously you had 40 seeds in this year 2018. Because you move 100 seeds from year 2018, now the database will modify the current count for you. Now you have, the current count is 140. And you will see the record of that transaction showing that you move 100 seeds from seed lot 2018 to the seed lot 2017. And at the same time, seed lot for the year 2018 current count will be only 100. And we'll have the new transaction showing that you take 100 seeds from this 2018 and move to seed lot year 2017. Okay, so basically, if you have all of those seed lots stored in Breedbase, Breedbase will modify and calculate the new seed lot counts for you. So in addition to transferring the seed between different seed lots, you can transfer seeds from seed lot to the plot in trial. So when you create a new trial in Breedbase, if you indicate seed lot name, you can indicate seed lot name and number of seeds per plot for each plot name when you create trial in Breedbase. Or you have option to upload information about the seed lot to plots after you already created trial in Breedbase by using the upload seed lot planted in trial link in the trial detail page. So if you transfer from seed lot to plot like this, here is the file format for that feature. So in the transaction table, you will see that you move the seed lot, the seeds from seed lot to the plot with the amount of the seeds that you plant in each plot. Okay, seed lot 2 also support seed inventory Android application. You can just simply upload CSV file from the app and store information directly in Breedbase by using previously stored seed lot name in Breedbase. Okay, so those are the brief information about crosses, pedigree, and seed inventory tools in Breedbase. So if any one has questions, please feel free. I think that's it.
I have a question for the cross process. You didn't mention Intercross. What is the status of the Intercross app and integration into
Intercross. That's a
Right.
difficult question. Actually, when I first received the file format of the very first version of the output from Intercross, I already implement that. It works fine. So, but the thing is, because Intercross keep modifying the app by modifying field, that's why I am waiting to receive a final or like a relatively stable output format from them. And as I mentioned, it's not difficult to implement any plugin for any spreadsheet. But the thing is, we need to see the output of the Intercross app. But the key issue is Intercross app ready for user, or is it practical enough for user to use in the field? I think that's what I'm really looking forward to hear the input from the user. In terms of connection, it's not the problem.
Okay, great, thanks.
Yeah. So if not, I will stop sharing the screen.
So then you're